right, and welcome back for another edition of Matt and Michelle Outdoors. I'm Matt Matan.
And I'm Michelle Sheaf.
And we are so excited to have our first out of North Carolina road trip
There
today.
was a long road trip out of town.
Yeah, way out of
like-
Asheville, all the
like
way to Jones Gap State Park.
It was like,
Where is Jones Gap State Park, some may ask?
Well,
it's actually tucked right along the South Carolina and North Carolina border, and it's about a 45-minute drive from Asheville down I-26, and then just make a couple little right merges, and then take this little hidden road that dumps off the side of the highway, following along the Eastern Continental Divide shelf, and it's parked right up in there. But yeah, it was good because this is our first hiking destination.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And some of the history there, we always like to look at the history, and I think that's been one of the things that I've most enjoyed about our day trips is on our way there, we always look up history and we're reading up on things as we're going to a place.
Right.
And every place we've gone so far, every destination, we've had surprises. And this one was no different. It's so tucked away. Jones Gap State Park is so tucked into a hidden little corner of the upstate of South Carolina that even though it gets crowded as a state park, it's because there's so small area for parking. But most people probably don't even know about it.
Well, they probably did it on purpose. They made it so they could do least amount of harm to the environment.
Yeah.
By only having like 36 or so.
Yeah, there's
spots.
Like 38. I think it was 38 parking spots or something. So let me go ahead and give you some of the details. Jones Gap State Park in South Carolina. It's 4,200 plus acres of state forest land. Like I said, it's about 45-minute drive from Asheville. It's also about 40-minute drive from Greenville. So it's about halfway between Greenville, South Carolina, and Asheville, North Carolina. There is admission to the park. There's a drop box. You can drop the money in when you're there. Pets are allowed, but on a leash that's less than 6 feet long. And here's the thing. We've been saying everywhere we go, because of COVID and all this kind of stuff, and different states are handling things differently, we advise people to go to the websites and make sure that they understand what kind of limitations there may be. At the time that we're recording this, the situation at Jones Gap State Park is that they do have reservation-only admission Friday, Saturday, and Sundays between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And so that is an important thing to make note of. If you want to show up at 2 o'clock or after, it's first come, first serve. So you may be sitting at the gate of the state park with the rangers and wait for someone to come out before you can go in. And we were. Yeah. We were like the fourth car in.
And definitely, like we said, we were the fourth car in. There, it was packed.
Yeah.
As for how packed it can be, which is not that packed, really.
No. And when you take only 38 parking spots and you spread those people across 4,200 acres.
Yeah. You don't see too many
people.
Yeah,
you have some privacy. Yeah. But it is primarily a hiking state park. They've got about 8 main trails, I think is what it is. There's 8 main trails. There is some primitive camping available there. You can check in and things. They have picnic areas. There's lots of water. Oh my goodness, there's water everywhere on that state park.
The river was just so gorgeous.
And that's where some of the history comes in, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what was the river that came through there? Was it the?
It was the middle
Saluda.
Saluda.
Yeah, the middle.
Let's get up
we should
on our
start
facts.
writing this stuff down.
The middle Saluda, which got South Carolina's first designation as a pretty pond.
As a protected waterway.
Or that.
But they should have called it a pretty pond, because that's a great thing to call a protected river.
Yeah. And so it got, it got the first kind of we're protecting you kind of marks, which was amazing.
Also, the other history there, it was the site of the very first state-owned and maintained fish hatchery in the state of South Carolina. It was called the Cleveland Fish Hatchery, and they have historic markers, and still the main pond of what used to be the fish hatchery is still there on the state park.
And right behind you on camera, you can show people the fish.
Oh yeah, I didn't do any fishing, but we did bring home this beauty,
a plushie,
this beautiful brook trout,
brook trout.
Yeah.
And
we caught it at the gift store at the Camp Ranger
caught
station.
it at the gift store, which is in the middle. You have to hike in 3 miles to the gift store.
Don't listen to her. She's sassy.
I'm sassy.
So when you do get in, you have the drop box to pay, and again, check the website. Go to the state park website for South Carolina, and then click through to Jones Gap State Park. But like I said, lots of picnic areas, hiking trails. They also have a bunch of waterfalls within
gorgeous.
The state park too.
Mm-hmm.
They have 5 different waterfalls within the state park, and then 2 more that are just outside the official boundary of the state park, but they're all right there. So 7 waterfalls all right close together and things. But one of the things that really stands out about this, and I thought was so cool, it reminded me of Austria actually and southern Bavaria of Germany, is that as you're standing, you look up and you see a wall of mountains like almost straight above you. It's like a huge stone ridge that goes up hundreds and hundreds of feet right above the state park, and it feels so immense. It's so powerful. But there's a cool factoid about that.
About the continental shelf, the eastern continental shelf,
or the eastern continental divide.
Yeah. Which means that it's where your water goes to either one main source or another, and it all flows from there.
Yeah.
And so when you are standing at an eastern continental divide, you know that your water is coming from the closest it could possibly be to the source.
Right there.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And it was beautiful. So everything that falls from what you see to where you're at and all the way to the coastline all ends up in the Atlantic. And just over the top of that ridge right there, everything else ends up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, all the water that we're right there, and you can play in and look for salamanders and everything else, and beautiful creeks. Yeah, all that water comes from between that ridge and here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was a lot of water.
Yeah,
actually.
So much water.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
And so as you're walking in, and the beginning part of it, I describe it feeling like Endor from Star Wars, with all the boulders and the moss-covered trees, and it was just so dark and rich when you're walking through part of the forest land and all the pine needle forest floor and ferns and everything else. Absolutely beautiful, and it was so much cooler. I mean, even though we're down the shelf kind of thing, down the Saluda grade.
Down south there.
But it was
cool.
because it's such a tucked in little gorge, and with all that water and stone and everything else, I think it was like 10, 12 degrees cooler when we left Hendersonville, because we stopped in Hendersonville along the way. I got some gas and everything. From there to Jones Gap State Park, it was like 10, 12 degrees cooler in the state park than it was in Hendersonville.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was really nice. And so the other things that are available for you there, you also have, like I said, you have the camping that you can do, primitive camping, and check in overnight at the ranger station.
Lots of picnicking if you just want to go for lunch one day.
And
say, let's get out of Asheville. Let's go socially distance with our friends at a nice setting. You could go sit at one pick table, and they could sit at the other.
They also have the visitor center, ranger station, the gift store, like we said, which was kind of nice because we like shopping. They have really nice restroom facilities and vending and everything else too. But you have to take a short, mild hike to get to those things. So from the parking lot, you follow the entry trail, you go across this beautiful archway bridge, and walk up through the old fish hatchery and everything. And so I'm not sure what the distance is, maybe a half a mile. It wasn't 3 miles, but maybe a half a mile till you get to the ranger station and visitor center and everything else.
It was cool, and they do classes there. I guess you said that, but
no, I didn't.
Oh,
but you just did.
I just said it. They have classes there. They you can get different little certifications, and it looked pretty amazing. Like they'll teach you all about the flora and the fauna,
which were really cool, especially like the really vibrant colored mushrooms that we were eating. I mean, finding.
Yeah.
No, actually, don't go eating the mushrooms.
Here we'll
I have
show
no
you
idea.
We'll show you a
pictures,
mushroom now.
Pictures of mushrooms. But yeah, it was really, really cool. It looked like very Alice in Wonderland kind of things.
Very, very neat.
But another thing, an advisement, so that you know, there is no cell signal or wireless internet or anything like that.
Don't even try it.
Yeah, if you're going up into Jones Gap State Park, if you need to let anybody know you're going there, do it before you get in there. They have one landline phone at the ranger station.
And someone was there using it to let people know that she had taken off without telling anyone where she was going, and now she was going to go for a hike and wanted to let people know.
Yeah, so
because she's a responsible adult. That
go.
was the whole conversation we overheard in the gift store.
Yeah, because we like to eavesdrop. If we're pretending, if we look for a couple of minutes at an item on a shelf that we have no interest in, it's because we're listening to you.
Yeah.
And then we come up with whole storylines when we get in the car or when we're on a trail.
Yeah, we like to put around what's going on.
We're writers. I mean, that it's what we do. We like to take stories. Yeah. Cheers to that. Our new Matt and Michelle Outdoors coffee mugs that we have on top of electronics, which you should never do either. All right. So for people listening on the radio, I want to tell you, if you're not on our digital platforms, you're missing out on the enhanced episodes and day trips and everything with video, photos, and a lot of exclusive stuff we do there. But yeah, Jones Gap State Park. 2 thumbs up from me.
2 thumbs up from me.
So it's a nice hiking day. Prepare for some wet weather as well if you're going in the summertime. All that water's coming from somewhere. And it was nice the day we were there. We didn't hit any. Well, we had a little bit of drizzle at one point for just a little bit.
It was beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful, and can't wait to go back and hit some of the waterfalls. Because there's so many of them. All right, so that's going to do it for our Jones Gap State Park destination day trip, all within 2 hours of Asheville, North Carolina. Leave us comments below if you have any recommendations of where you'd like to see us go ahead and highlight for a destination, or if you have questions about different things. Also, we'll link through to the websites for our destinations in the descriptions of the videos. But please like and subscribe. We appreciate y'all.
Go play outdoors.
There you go. We'll be back after this.